Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every podcast, it's a purely selfish reason why I record these episodes, because I get to speak to people that inspire me. And today is no exception. I've got a local legend with me who I've known for a number of years now, Ben Sherriff. How are you, my lovely?
I'm doing good, thanks. I'm really good, yeah.
How long have we known each other now?
A long time. I don't know, maybe 10 years, I suppose. It's got to be at least.
Oh, absolutely. And I was like, Ben, you need to come on my podcast because you are doing amazing things and helping so many people. So you are the perfect guest to be on here.
Okay.
So you're qualified in quite a few things, aren't you? It's like, is it NLP?
Yeah, so my journey has took a few different courses. So originally it was motivational coaching, and that was a line of work that I did for ages, sort of business coaching and things like that, based on, like, I'm an entrepreneur at heart and I've got several different businesses. So I was going through that, and I went through a tough period of my life, probably about a decade, and sort of landed on my arse a little bit. And I had to go through some therapy and counselling and bits and bobs for that. And I really felt the value of it.
Yeah.
And when I got myself back on my feet, I was like, you know what? That's what I want to do, because not everybody's ready to, like, take on the world and smash massive goals and start businesses and, go run the London Marathon and all these things. There's a much broader section of people that just need help getting through the day to day, and those are
Yeah.
the people that I want to concentrate on, really.
Yeah. So you mentioned about going through a tough part of your life, and you normally find every guest that I've interviewed has been through something that's led them to do what they're doing now. So what was your tough time? What started that off for you?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing was, so I was probably, like a lot of the guests that you get on here, massive motivational person, hustle, take on the world, work a million hours. I got a really successful business. At one point, we were turning over, an incredible sum of money, but the stress sort of, it cracked me, and I started drinking a lot, taking drugs, and it just got completely out of hand. And I ended up in a place where I didn't want to be here anymore. And I had a clear plan in place of what I was going to do. And I sort of said to myself, I'll give life one last shot. And if it doesn't work out, then I'll just go. And so
Yeah.
I kind of gave it everything I got myself into therapy, and yeah, just things have just snowballed and just been perfect ever since. Really, I know that sounds like it was a snapshot, but it wasn't. It was a long period of time getting to that, and then I went on and
Yeah.
did some, like, therapy training in neuro linguistic programming, which was like my first introduction to therapy, of, like, delivering it. I learned so many skills, learned loads of great people, and that opened some opportunity for me. But I really felt that the training lacks. So there's loads of courses that you can go on to become, like, a life coach, or this coach, or that coach, or everything. They're like a week long, and then you're certified at the end of it. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I didn't feel that that was sufficient to go into a line of work that I wanted to do. So I was like, right. I rang up Wolverhampton Uni, got in touch with them, and they kind of told me what I needed to do. And then I managed to get a placement at Aston University. So for the last 3 years, I've been studying psychotherapy and counselling.
No.
So, yeah, that has kept me accountable to my own journey,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
So I quit drinking, quit drugs. I've been sober for, like, quite a few years now.
Yeah,
I
well
think I
done.
was with you probably like the day before I quit drinking as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's helped me massively. So I'm a massive advocate for helping people get through substance abuse and things like that. I've done a lot of training on that. So
No, I like that. And well done, mate, because I know that's not an easy journey. And you're right, that a lot of the people that I've spoke to, it's like a generational thing, isn't it? It's like we missed out on how to deal with stress, how to deal with anything really. And alcohol is a huge problem. And it's like, it's one of those things where I always say, we've had a lot of sober coaches on. It's like alcohol is used to when you're younger, like you go out with your mates, you turn 18, it's a good time. But then you can use it for celebrating, birthdays, just to go out for a meal. But it's also used to de-stress if you're feeling a bit shitty, like
yeah.
grieving, and it just covers a whole range of things. It's like a go-to, it's like a society problem, isn't it? It's like, right, I need a drink, I've had a long day at work, need a drink.
Yeah, maybe. I think we mask our problems in many different ways, and alcohol's just one of them. It was for me. That's how I dealt with stress, and it caused more problems in my life. But you can look at people that go to the gym all time, but and ignore all their problems. Again, that's a way of escaping and not facing up to what they need to deal with. There's other people that play computer games all night so that they can escape the reality.
Yeah.
And we can get addicted to lots of different things. And I think everybody's got a story.
Yes.
You could sit down and do a podcast with anybody in the local area, and they'll have an amazing story to tell you about their life. And I truly believe that everyone I meet's like got an inspiring story to tell. And yeah, for me it was alcohol. I love alcohol. I think it's great. You know what I mean? Drugs and alcohol are fantastic. I had some great times, but I was using them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So a lot of people that I've met that have gone sober go totally anti-alcohol, and they hate it and totally all these things. I think it's great, but
Yeah.
it's not for me. And some people can go
Yeah.
out at a weekend and not then touch it for 6 months. Well, that's responsible,
Yeah.
isn't it? So that's great. Some
Yeah.
people they'll have a takeaway 3 nights a week. What difference is there between having a takeaway 3 nights a week to going to the pub 3 nights a week? In my eyes, you're still not looking after yourself.
Yeah. It's just a different, yeah, it's just a different outlet, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's yeah, even phones, mate. People get addicted to phones if they're stressed, they're straight on like social media and that. Like everybody's got like their go-to to de-stress.
yeah, and it's about learning some some new tools that can help do that are probably a bit more beneficial to us. And I don't believe that there's like a one size fits all thing. And I've worked with loads
No.
of different coaches, as you know, and loads of them sell, oh, this is my program. You get through this, you're going to conquer the world. And I've learned, like, after like the tens of thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of pounds I spent with all these different coaches, that's not the way. It's about building your own blueprint, because we're all so very different, and we've all got different needs. We've got different stories. We've got different pasts, different fears, different hopes, different dreams. And so those tools can look very different to all of us.
Yeah.
So I love meditation. Really helps me because I could be anxious quite a bit. Meditation works great for me. Cold showers works great for me. Listening to music, playing my guitar, going to the gym, all them things work great for me. And I get lost in like cooking, but that could be very, very different for you, Amy. And your things could be different that work for you. But as long as they're positive, I think, and not making us not socialize or not look after ourselves, I think it's all good. Don't moan about being anxious if you're drinking alcohol, or don't moan about being depressed if you're drinking alcohol, because it makes you depressed and it makes you anxious. So it's just looking at that. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? And if you like eating pizza,
Yeah,
you're
I
going to
love
get
that.
fat.
And it's
So
yeah, yeah, exactly that. It was a big thing for you to go into therapy, because I don't think, that's one hell of taking responsibility. That first moment that you decided, right, I'm going to go to therapy. I can't, I don't want to be like this anymore. That's really brave, because that takes a lot of people will sit there and not do that. So was there
yeah,
like one day where you went, I've had enough of this, something's got to change?
so I'd never like, so I'd worked with a load of coaches and things like that, even in times where I was struggling with alcohol, thinking that'd sort me out, and I'd do really well. And on the outside, like I was killing it. Like I got 4 businesses, smashing it, more money than I could spend. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely killing it. But it wasn't about that for me. I didn't feel that when I think of a therapist or a psychologist, I get reminded of a school teacher, right?
Yeah,
And a lot of them are just fucking boring. And when I was gonna kill myself, the GP sent me to the crisis team, got me in contact with the crisis team of the NHS. And I was fortunate enough to have a guy that was on my level. I connected him so well. He wasn't that stereotypical sort of therapist or
yeah,
whatever that I was thinking. And it really opened to my eyes to think, oh, well, I've been really judgmental here and really naive. And I went out and found myself another therapist that I work with. And again, like it clicked with him straight away. And then part of the reason why I wanted to go into counseling and therapy was I look a bit different. I'm covered in tattoos and, I talk a bit different and I've gone a different path in life. And I knew that I would be able to connect to a slightly different audience of people, and maybe they wouldn't
yeah,
feel like I did, that maybe therapy is not for me. So, yeah, I don't think it was so much a brave step as I was pushed into it to save my life, really. And then I really felt the value of it. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I love that. Well, I think you're brave for doing it. You know, yeah. So take that as a compliment. You were brave for doing that, and I think, right, people will resonate with you more because you are authentic and human. I say this all the time, and I think you're so right with therapists. If you've got somebody there in a suit that's walked out of university, that I'm not knocking anybody, but has no kind of history with any kind of mental health problems or any addiction problems, I think people don't warm to that. Whereas if, you get people that have been through that can stand on a stage and say, look, this is what happened to me, like, you are not alone, like, people will reach out to you a lot more.
Yeah, maybe. And there's another side of that as well. Okay, so there's a people like me that look at that. We want somebody that's been through the grit, been through the muck and the bullets. And um, you know, nobody's going to understand addiction unless you've been up till 4 a.m. in somebody's kitchen chatting shit all night. Do you know what I mean? And been on a
Yeah, yeah,
two
yeah, yeah.
week bender and not been home. So you can look at it like that, or then you can look at somebody that's in chaos might really appreciate a Karen or that type of, you know, um,
Mm,
what's the word? Somebody that's more safe and can make them feel safe because they're surrounded by chaos. So I think when you're picking a therapist or somebody to work with, I think it's very much a personal thing, and it's about finding somebody that you can have that bond with, which is why
yeah,
I
you've got to
never
open up.
like, there's so many people that are life coaches, so many counselors, so many therapists, so many of this, that, all trying to help people. And I think that's amazing. And I don't never see anybody as a rival or a competitor, because I know that I'm only going to click with a certain amount of people. So we need a broad range of therapists of all different backgrounds and experience, so that there's someone there for everybody. And that's what I truly believe. So I think there's two sides to that coin. And I think it's a matter of
Yeah.
perspective from where you're at.
Yeah, yeah. So NLP,
Yeah.
explain what that is.
Right. So, if you'd have talked to me about this before I experienced this, I'd have said it's a load of woohoo,
Right.
crazy stuff, right? But basically, it's about reprogramming patterns in the mind. So, for example, if you get, say, you got an emotion and you feel it's dark and all that, it's like reprogramming that to maybe change the color of it and all sorts. So when you think about you think about more positive vibes rather than negative, as and like
Yeah.
changing your self-image, and it lends itself well with hypnotherapy as well, which they're both often
All
taught in
right. Okay.
tandem. And
All
I
right.
I really clicked with this, and it worked for me. A lot of it didn't. Certainly hypnotherapy, although I've done training on it, I'm not an advocate for it. It didn't work for me, and I couldn't be
Right.
hypnotized, so I'm not down for that. But it's all about changing the way you think about things and getting a different perspective and rewiring perhaps some of those habits in the brain. So when you get up in the morning, rather than when you look in the mirror, you get this negativity about your self-image. It's, well, maybe look for the positive. And so a lot of the things that you teach, a lot of the motivational things, it all comes from that. And NLP's used loads in sales. So in any like sales
All
program,
right. Okay.
you'll most of them would have studied NLP. Tony Robbins done a lot of NLP, or whatever. A lot of salespeople do NLP because it's all about changing somebody's thought process on something. So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
really big in sales, but it's good as a therapy thing. But it for me, it wasn't like a whole package. There was a lot of tools in there I could use, but I went, this is lacking. I felt it was missing some pieces, which is why I went on to do the counselling. And I still use NLP a lot and a lot of those techniques within my practice,
Mm.
but I pick and choose the ones that I think are right for my clients or that are right for me. So that's why I say like it's just brief counselling and therapy,
Yeah.
because I don't believe just counselling alone is the answer for some people. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
some some people want a bit of that woohoo and a bit of that spiritual healing as well.
Yeah.
And there's it's a mix, and you have to build once you've built that rapport with a client and you understand how they tick and what they're like. You can practice different techniques if you think that's the way to go, or you can go the solid like talking therapy, person-centered approach, or CBT. And it's really when I start with a client, it's I tailor make this blueprint for them, and that's why I say everyone's different, and I try and tailor make what I do to fit their needs.
Yeah. I love that because I suppose with NLP that works great, but if you're dealing with somebody that's got really bad limiting beliefs or self-confidence, is that quite hard for somebody not to have the counselling first before the NLP?
Well, I think doing NLP takes your basic counselling skills anyway. You're
Right.
gonna need those listening skills anyway. But yeah, there's like a method called swoosh, which looks at like changing the way that you look at yourself. You would have your negative vision of yourself that you've described on one hand, and then the positive one, and you keep changing that, and eventually, you know, you just keep moving
Yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
the. So yeah, there's lots of different things like that, and it's all about just changing shapes, colors, feelings, because when we experience trauma, for example, it's not just stored in a mind. So if you go back to in your head to a traumatic experience that you've had, I bet you can remember what it
Mm.
smelt like. I bet you can remember what it tasted like. You know what? All those
Yeah,
things
yeah,
come
yeah.
together. And
Yeah.
that's what NLP is about. It's about taking all that sensory information and maybe like, oh, well, yeah, you could smell this in the room, but were there some flowers in the room as well? What did they smell? And trying to change that image. So, yeah, it's really
Yeah.
useful,
So
really
like
useful and
suggest an
really
image.
important. Yeah, and that's where like
Okay.
it's close to
That's amazing.
hypnotherapy as well.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I could see where the link would be there. That's
Yeah,
quite
and
impressive.
that's why they're like taught closely together, I think, as well. Um,
Yeah.
but I just couldn't be hypnotized, which is why I couldn't buy into the hypnotherapy. I was like,
I
well,
tried once. I
no,
couldn't. No.
and then again, I was like, well, you can be a hypnotherapist in an afternoon, can't you? So like, how much really thought play's gone into that? And I've spent so much time like I'll be doing my masters in psychotherapy next, and so yeah, and I think it's all of these different pieces though. I'm not knocking any other types of therapy. I think there's bits there for everybody. Like I said about being a different
Mm,
counselor or therapist, but I've taken the bits that I think are effective, little bits here and there from different areas and courses that I've been on, and I've gone right. I'll keep those and I'll incorporate them in my practice because I believe in those, rather
yeah.
than just going hook, line, and sinker down one route and go right. I'm an NLP practitioner and that's all I am. I've used the different training I have to inform my practice to be a better counsellor than what I would be if I'd just gone and done counselling for.
Yeah. I like that because, like you say, not one size fits all. Some people need, they can talk and it'll be fine. Some people need, to rewire habits and thoughts. So yeah, I like the way that you do that and you approach it with different things. So you've been talking quite a lot over the last couple of days about fear, haven't you, on social media?
Yeah, so I do my daily videos and I try and get people to ask me questions for a subject to cover, and then I'll either go and wait and research it, see what the theory says, because what I don't want to do is just give my own personal opinion. So when I do a video, I thoroughly research the subject beforehand, so I can give a good rounded view. What does academia say about it? What are other different points of view, and what's my point of view, and ball that all together. And one of the things that I covered today, actually, I mean, I've covered this a lot in different videos over the past, but today in particular, I was at the skate park. And if you've ever been skateboarding and you're standing on the edge of one of those giant ramps and everyone's willing you to go down it, it's absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. And I was really encouraged to see the kids like really trying to pump each other up and getting each other to go for it and giving them each other that support. And I think that's really incredible, and it got me thinking, when we're like kids, we don't like learn to walk, fall down a few times and then like give up, do we? We don't think, oh, this walking thing's not for me, I'm not gonna continue with this now. We keep going, and like there's so much less fear in children because they've not lived through life and then been conditioned, been told, like let's take starting a business for example. So somebody might want to start a business and their family go, oh, it's not very safe, what if you don't earn enough
Oh, that
money?
work
Oh
or
yeah, you've got to do. You're gonna have to do your taxes, and you're gonna have to do this, and you're gonna have to do that. What if it all goes wrong? It's really unsafe. And then right, and so then that person's scared to death. They're not gonna do it. They've been conditioned
Mm,
by society to think that starting a business is risky, when actually getting employed by somebody is really risky because the business could go bust at any minute. That you might be stuck on the same wage for the rest of your life. You might absolutely hate that job. You've got no control over how to change it, the environment that you're in. You might get treated like crap. You only get so many holidays, and you might not have flexible working out. You could go on, and it sounds like doom and gloom, don't it? The more I tell you about it.
yeah, yeah.
And in so as we get older, the more conditioning we have, whether it's from the media, or our friends, our family, or whatever, and we have these horror stories in our head when really when you're a child, the only thing really you're scared of is a monster under the bed. And that's only because we've watched, been told horror stories or things like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
as adults, we often say to young people, "Yeah, you can do it. You can achieve." And when we've got sporting groups and that, we're constantly trying to push them and help them progress. Why don't we do that as adults? Why don't we do that as like a supportive community? When somebody wants to go start a business, why does everybody suddenly disappear
yeah,
when this person needs help? We should be openly encouraging people to. I don't see it as taking risks. I see it, if the more people supported, the less of the chance of things not going to plan. And I won't use the word failure. Uh, the less of a chance of things not going to plan if we got that support. So
yeah. It's funny that, isn't it? It's like people will say something if you're gonna set up a business, or I don't know, you've decided to sell your house and go traveling, right? You'll always get everybody else's opinions from their kind of life and experiences. Do you know what I mean? They can only give those opinions, but it really does put people off because
yeah,
you can be all
yeah.
up for really ambitious, and then it only takes a couple of people to say something, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, yeah, they might actually be right. Like the doubt sets in then. And it's a
It
shame,
it
isn't it?
it does, and fear's there to keep us safe. So
Yeah,
when we think about the neurological process and why we have fear, it's about keeping us safe, and obviously that comes from a primitive part of the brain, and in the modern world, it doesn't always suit us. It does sometimes. It works great. It does keep us safe. It keeps us out of danger, but then sometimes it keeps us stuck as well and paralyzed
yeah,
from moving ourselves forward. So a lot of people end up living lives that aren't actually the lives they should be living because they're too scared to take certain directions or go for certain things. And that might be like things like too scared to catch a plane. So they've never been abroad, so they've never experienced culture. And then that might lead to prejudice or racism because they've never been and explored different things. So then that's totally altered their mind view just because of the fear. And you can look at so many different things. So somebody might be scared to drive a car. Well, and then their independence goes, or scared to go to university because their friends aren't going to university. They don't want to go alone. And then they lose that potential and they don't go to university and they end up packing Mickey Mouse knickers for the rest of their lives and regretting it. Not that there's anything wrong with packing Mickey Mouse knickers
yeah,
if that's what you want to do, but most most people will tell you a
yeah,
story of where they wanted to do something and they wish they'd done it. Nobody ever tells you, "Oh, I've done this now. I totally regret it." Very rare do you get that story.
yeah,
90%
yeah.
of the time,
Do you
it's
know what?
yeah.
Yeah,
I wish I'd done that when I was younger.
it's one of those things as well. And a lot of people won't actually say what they want as well, in fear of people of judgment as well, what other people will think. Uh,
Yeah,
which is sad. I mean, I've fell a cropper to that, many a times, um, wondering what people will think. And I think a lot of people have that kind of, you know, it's like I say, everybody's got an opinion, and
yeah,
yeah, the fears there. So yeah, so somebody that's like wanting to do a big life change, like setting up a business or that, will probably just not do it and won't even admit it to themselves. That's quite a sad thing to do, isn't it?
I'll tell you what's brave or really important is to admit when we're scared. Like, a,
Yeah,
we're saying that contrast between children and a child will tell you when they're scared, but an adult won't tell you when they're scared because this pride comes in or they put on this mask. But if we begin to change the way we think about fear and go, I'm scared, and well, let's unpack that. Let's unpack those feelings and explore it. What you're scared of. Let's lay
yeah,
down the facts. Is any of the stuff that you're scared of, are those facts or is that something you've constructed in your mind? And I use this phrase a
Yeah.
lot when I talk to clients. I say, right, what I'm going to do, imagine you're in a cave and there's a fire breathing dragon in there, right? It's my job to become your shield and your armor. And I'll do that until you're strong enough to go and sleep with a dragon on your own. And when you can go and sit there, it's not that your fears will go away and you suddenly won't be scared. And it's not that your traumas will go away and they suddenly won't be there and your past hasn't happened to you. And it's not that suddenly you need to drink alcohol will just suddenly disappear. But what you can do is learn to, with different tools and therapy, is to get brave enough to have your own shield and your own sword and go and sleep with a dragon. You know it's there, but you're okay with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So it's about building confidence as well, then. Do you
Yeah,
find a lot of people have low confidence? Because I suppose I say to a lot of people, we like go through school and it's just how school is. They just want to get you to the age where you leave and hope you do really well at exams, but they don't teach you what if something goes wrong in your life? What if something doesn't go to plan? They don't teach you anything of that. So, we all have things in our life that haven't gone to plan, and it does knock your confidence. Um, Especially if it's, like a few things where, and you can't really tell until you try and do something, and then you're like, no, I'm not confident enough to do that. So I know you've spoke a lot about confidence as well, because that's massive, because
yeah.
we go around collecting these things that haven't gone quite right.
I think a lot of us suffer with our inner voice and sitting with that a lot of the time when we're not our own best friends, are we? And we tell ourselves we
No.
can't do things. We tell ourselves we're not beautiful. We tell ourselves that we're worthless. And we tell ourselves all these things. And it's easy to say, oh, yeah, just say some positive things about yourself. But how are you supposed to
Mm,
be positive when you don't see shit positively? So when it comes to
yeah.
like building confidence, it's all about having some proof and it's all about dopamine. So if if you think that you're not going to be able to do a GCSE maths test, for example, and you say, there's no way I can do this. Say, right, okay, well, you can't manage the test now. Okay, maybe that's a fact. Let's go with that. Okay, but which parts of it can you do? Well, I can do addition, brilliant. I can do Pythagoras, great. So here's the bits we've got to work on. Now let's just take one of those and what are the steps we need to do in able to do that. And that's a lot of the time where people stop when they're going after their goals or when they're trying to do something or get anything done. They make a list of the steps, right, of stuff they've got to do, and then they never take action. And the reason they don't take action is
Yeah.
they haven't gone back and got that first step and then broke it down again. Because if you can create the first step and make it small enough so that it's literally nothing, so you might be you might be worried about doing the division. Well, okay, the first tiniest step might be to just watch some videos on YouTube about division. Not asking you to even attempt to sum. Don't even try it. Just spend 3 weeks just watching videos on division. And then maybe do a tiny little two answers or something like that. See how you get on with it. And then you go,
Yeah.
right, well, I can do two questions. There's only 50 in the exam. I've got 48 more to go. So I've got to
Yeah.
do that 24
Yeah.
more times. And then
Yeah.
you give yourself this thing like, oh, actually, the facts are I can do it. I'm not completely useless. And people catastrophize, don't they? And then their confidence is
Yes.
completely shot because they've catastrophized whatever situation or about themselves. And they might say, you know, I'm ugly and I'm beautiful, I'm not beautiful, and all this. But yeah, is that a fact? Is it really? Let's have a look at that. Is that a fact? Because we know beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but you can soon sit and find some facts about yourself that are good if you try and you take some steps and you feel better. So yeah, I think it's
That's
all
it. That's
it's
it. I
I
love
think
that. So do you
confidence is built is what I'm
go
trying to
on?
say. You don't get given confidence, you don't get born with
Yeah,
confidence, you have to build it.
yeah. You can't think yourself confident as well. That's the
No.
thing. Like you say, your brain needs data. You know, it
Yeah,
needs proof. So
exactly that.
absolutely. So do you coach men and women? Or is it just
Yeah,
men?
yeah, most
Oh,
definitely.
I like that.
Yeah, so I think I'm seen as like a bit of just like a male coach. I don't know why, but 90% of my clients are female.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I coach anybody of any age. Well, I don't particularly work so much with young people. I do some work with schools because I used to be in education. I used to be a teacher. I used to work with kids that were in care, kids that were kicked out of school. So I've got some experience there. But it's a more specialist area working with under 18s. So I
Yeah.
don't tend to do that unless somebody really needs some help. So yeah, anybody.
I love that. I mean, I suppose like a big one for people as well is like after like a marriage has broke down or relationship has ended, like confidence and limiting beliefs and that's a big one for people as well, I'm finding.
Yeah, well, when a relationship ends, like it, we're grieving, aren't we? Like when we think of grief,
Yeah,
we often think it is a loss of life, but it's not. When a relationship ends, you're kind of grieving a person that's still alive, and that can be even more difficult to deal with in some ways. And there's
yeah,
all these emotions that come into play, and it's not a linear process that, oh well, we're gonna feel this first, then this next, then we're gonna get to that. You kind of keep going round and coming back, and then you might be out one day and then you see a place, and then talking about that NLP again, that place or that smell that triggers a memory or a trauma, and then you're right back to square one again. And that's why relationships can be
yeah,
quite difficult to deal with when they fall apart, and people lose their confidence because a lot of the time
yeah,
they they've needed that support of another person.
yes, yeah. And then the scare comes back in the fear, you know,
Yeah.
that all plays a part. So yeah, it's very traumatic and there's no handbook for any grieving, is there? There's no
No,
whether
I
you've
mean
lost
that
somebody
in
like somebody passed
in
away or
academia we
relationship.
talk about different models. We talk about different models and frameworks, but they're really followed quite loosely in practice because it is not a linear process. It's so
Yeah,
complex.
yeah, that's it. I mean, everybody deals with it differently, right? Like any
Yeah,
life challenge.
of course.
Yeah, so yeah, I get that. Yeah, I love that. So if you like, I get a lot of people listening to this that are either like addictions, like their main challenge, or it could be a mindset problem. If somebody sat there going, yeah, well, I'm thinking about therapy, but I'm not sure whether it's right for me, like, what would you say to them people that are sat on the sofa listening to this?
Okay. Well, you're not trying therapy at the minute, and that's obviously not working. Just give it a go, and don't I think anybody that's coming into therapy, don't go see one person and go, this ain't for me. Do a bit of research, find out about the person that you're going to see, and find somebody that you feel
Yeah,
you can relate to, or has got some specialist credentials in the area that you're looking to improve as well, and some sort of track record. And I think for addiction, therapy is really good because keeping people accountable in sobriety
Yeah.
is really important, because if people think they can do what they want, or then they're not going to be seen often, they'll revert back to it quite quickly. So it's about a lot of accountability in those early days, and having a coach or a therapist, or even like it can be a spouse, just somebody that's going to have strong boundaries and say, I'm not going to accept this behavior, I'm not going to accept you drinking at home, and stick to their guns on it. That's accountability, and that's really important. And when we look at addiction in particular, it's not just a one person process. You have to like involve families, and you have to involve friends, because otherwise, like, that accountability is not there. People often don't have strong boundaries, or if they're in abusive relationships, that they might stay in them, uh, or keep going back to it over and over again for a lot of reasons, but because they haven't set strong boundaries where there's a line in the sand where, "Oh, I'm not gonna accept this behavior." And then other things might come
Mm.
into play where they're scared of leaving the relationship, and all different things. But having a good support network in addiction is so important. And if you don't feel like you've got that, maybe therapy is a good place to start. Maybe getting a coach is a good place
Yeah.
to start, because you're going to have that one-to-one support. You're going to have somebody that's going to be cheering for you no matter what, and somebody that's going to help you identify your own behaviors, identify your own triggers, because it's so difficult to do it alone, and to just do it with willpower as well, because it's never the substance that's the
Yeah.
problem. It's always something deeper that's the problem. So counseling and therapy is really useful to look at, well, what are the real reasons why this person is using, and how can we put things into place so that that person can deal with life without having to move to substances.
Yeah. I love that. You're running nights as well, aren't you? Is it every
Yes, yeah.
Wednesday?
So I've started a support group in Tamworth, and I'm going to be opening one in Swallowcoat as well, because I live in the
All right.
Tamworth area. And then once I've got those up and rocking quite well, the Tamworth one's going really good. I'm going to start doing some online meetings as well, because I appreciate that a lot of people can't afford to access therapy without going through the NHS. So I wanted to put
Yeah.
some services in place where I was able to dedicate an hour of my time or 2 hours of my time a week, and to give something back to the community, and somewhere where people could access some support for free. Obviously, I can't go and
Y-
do 20 hours of one to one and give out all these sessions for free. It's just not, a viable business model.
No.
But what I can do is have 20 people in one room for an hour and give some support for free.
Yes.
And also, they get a taste
Yeah.
of what I'm like, what my therapy's like. And some of those people go, Ben, you know what? I'd really like to work with you one to one. And so it
Yeah.
gives people the opportunity to see what that therapy might look for them, and some do take it further, but that was
Yeah.
never my goal or my aim. It was just like to
I
give
like
back to
that
the
though because
community.
yeah, I mean the NHS is inundated, whether it's addiction or mental health. So I think that moment where somebody says, "Right, I want to go and get help now," but then they've got like a 12-month, 6 or 12 month waiting list. That's quite damaging. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I think if you opening up these groups where somebody says, right, okay, I need to go and do something different, I need to learn how to be different, you've opened that avenue for people.
yeah. And what we do is like is different. It's not like other support groups that are well known. You don't get any badges for hitting certain days. You're not, there's no sort of rules to the group. It's just we get people in a room and we chat. We
Yeah.
unpack people's feelings and we talk about things. And we talk about, ways and strategies that somebody might begin to build their journey. And I often say to people, well, what do you think the start of your journey looks like? What's that first step?
Yeah.
And if you can help them see the first step, well, okay, that's one step forward. And it doesn't matter if somebody, I don't expect people to be in like complete sobriety. As long as you turn up to that meeting and you're sober, right? It's a support group. It's not a group for people
Yes.
that only have had continuous sobriety. It's there for people when, you know, they might be in a chance of a suicidal risk or something like that. They can come along on that Wednesday as long as they're sober and we can chat about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I love.
it's really nice, close community, and that's the feel. I didn't want to be out front giving lectures and this and that, which is great. I do some of that sometimes, but what it's really about, it's just about being there for each other and holding space for each other, and that's what's most
Yeah,
important.
I love that. Ben, have you become the person that you needed when you weren't great?
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, I can tell. And I love that. I absolutely love that. As you're talking, I'm like, yeah, he's become that person that he needed. And that's incredible.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a process, and I don't think there's a pinnacle of that. But I'm trying to do the things that are right for me, that are helping me get to where I need to be on my journey. And
Yeah,
if I can help others and be a
yeah,
part of their story as well, then
yeah,
that's even more amazing.
yeah, yeah. And that's why I said people will resonate you. And I said at the beginning, people will resonate you, and that's why. Because you've gone out above and beyond to have been that person that you needed way back when when you had your troubles. So proud of you, mate. I actually am really proud of you because it's not easy. You have to drop all your excuses, which again is not easy. Kind of finding yourself without drink or drugs is not easy because you don't actually know who you actually are. And like I said earlier, you are brave. In my eyes, you are brave because that takes balls to do that, and you are showing other people how to gain that courage to do that. It's one of I always say it's one of the scariest moments you'll have when you meet yourself in the mirror for the first time with no excuses, no
Yeah,
limitations, and I've had other people on the show mention it as well, where some people it's brought them to tears, because you meet yourself finally, and it's not an easy journey, but it's a worthwhile journey.
yeah. And I think everybody's got that journey and everybody's on that journey. And it doesn't matter if you're on day one of that journey or day 100. You're an inspiration to somebody.
Yes.
To somebody that's still on day zero, the person on day one is their inspiration. So if you
Yeah.
if you're doing something that's positive, share it. Don't be afraid to share it. Don't think, oh, nobody's going to listen to me. It's not worthwhile me putting some positive stuff out there. Do it because there's somebody out there watching it. I guarantee it. And if you can inspire somebody to just even have a better day, maybe you change not their life, but you just change a moment of a day and help them think differently and enjoy the rest of their day, then that post or that video or that conversation you've started, it's worth it.
Oh, I love that. So where can people find you? Because I know you do videos all the time that people love. So whereabouts are you in socials?
Yeah, so on my social media, I just use like my personal page. I've got two because I got locked out once. So if you search for Ben Sherriff, I've got a verified page, and that's where I put all my counselling stuff. So Ben Sherriff. Sherriff has got 2 R's and 2 F's in it. So that's where I do a lot of daily content and stuff. My counselling and therapy website, if you're interested in what I do as a therapist and you want to work with me potentially, that is helpjustbreathe.com. So
Yeah.
really easy to remember, helpjustbreathe.com. And if you want some business coaching, or you really want some performance coaching, I do that through headhustler.com.
I love
So
that.
that's the
I have
best
one last
places to
question
find me.
for you. I asked this one
Yeah.
last question. This is the hardest question. Everybody nags at me. I've been called names when I've asked this question and everything. Ben, tell me 3 good things about yourself.
I think I'm really passionate about everything I do,
Yeah.
and I've never stopped doing what I like doing. I think that's one of my best traits. Is a lot of people go, "Oh, why have you got so many businesses and doing things?" Well, I've just never stopped doing things that I enjoy, and when I stop enjoying them, I stop doing them. I think that's one really good thing for me.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm a really good communicator and come across well on media, and
Mm-hmm.
use that in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I guess another good thing about me is I'll always do what I say I'm going to do.
Yes.
You'll never hear any bullshit from me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. Like when I said I was going to bust to Russia, everybody thought it was a joke. Like there's a war going in.
You did it.
They were saying, and I slept homeless. I got my guitar and I bust all the way to Russia with my 13-year-old son, and I've done it. And that is a big thing with me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll get it done. Don't matter how or who help I need, I'll get it done.
I love that. So have you got anything else like that planned? Have you got another like trip planned, or what's your latest? Because I know you've always got something in the pipeline.
Yeah, so I'm doing a bit of a personal one this year. I held off my charity until next year because hopefully I've going to have my own charity set up for
Yeah.
next year. And next, I'm going to climbing Kilimanjaro and doing a bit of a tour around Africa and bits and bobs for
Wow.
myself. And then next year, me and the boy, we're going to go all the way to Athens this
All
time.
right.
So we're going to busk with no money whatsoever. We're going to sleep rough on the streets, and we can only use
Yeah.
public transport and only use the money we earn from busking. And we're going to go all the way to
I love
Athens.
that.
So
I love that.
that's next year's.
So do you have to get all the way back as well?
So no, we flew back last time. So we had to
Oh, I
we,
was
we got
about to say, yeah.
we got to Russia, and then we were like, okay, we had to go back to, I think maybe Latvia, work our way back to Latvia before we could get a flight over to, where were we? Iceland, and then fly back from Iceland to the UK. So we'll do something similar.
Wow.
We'll get to Athens, and then I don't know. We might say, right, what country's nearby? Let's go and have a holiday somewhere, or something like that before we fly back. There's absolutely no
I love
pressure.
that.
With these challenges, I don't go, oh, it's going to be done in 2 weeks. If this challenge takes 2 years in, I'm still 2 years in, then that's what it takes. But it will get done. No matter what, it will get done. Because I always do what I say I'm going to do.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you, mate, for coming on my podcast and being an amazing guest. Anybody listening, just reach out to Ben. Like, he is so friendly. Just pop him a message on Facebook. And he's the most genuine, authentic person that I know. So yeah, give him a follow, reach out to him. Thank you for joining me, my lovely.
Yeah, thanks for your kind words, Amy, and thanks for having me as a guest. I'm really excited and appreciated the invite.
Oh,
It's been great to be on.
okay. You take care.
Yeah, take care. See you soon.